Think multiboxing is banned? Multiboxing ain't banned. You can do it in 5 minutes. What's up, suckers? You still want to multibox in retail but afraid you'll get banned? You will! Unless you stop using the old key cloning software and start using window swapping. Try mine. 5-minute multiboxing. It's free and open source, so you can see everything it does. Obviously, though, I have to protect my identity, just as you should, because multiboxing is now a renegade occupation. However, Blizzard does say it is legal as long as you do not use third-party software to send keys to all windows at the same time. So, 5-minute multiboxing, this is going to be a long video. I know it's called 5-minute multiboxing, but it ain't 5 minutes today. I want you to go through the video, look at the chapters, reference them while you try to do this, and be prepared for a deep dive here. This is probably the most detailed video I've ever done on 5-minute multiboxing because of the paradigm change. So, 5-minute multiboxing starts with downloading and unzipping it. Join my Discord in the link below. Go to download retail 5-minute multiboxing or download classic 5-minute multiboxing and unzip the latest package. Now, if I've given you updated files in the meantime since the latest package, also copy that one down after you unzip. How you unzip the latest package is you just double click it. It will open and you just take all of this and you drag and drop it into your WoW directory. So this is my WoW directory, right? Where my wow.exe lives. You drag this and just drop it into that directory, okay? And copy all that right on top of it. You will get my 5-minute multiboxing add-on. You will get my 5mmb.tickle file where all the magic lives. And you'll get a couple of other bonus things. But the important part is you have 5-minute multiboxing now. Now, the next step is to edit your toon list. What is a toon list? A toon list is the only thing you have to edit to run 5-minute multiboxing. Everything starts and ends there. You do not have to edit any of my files. You do not have to change any add-ons. You do not have to do anything in game aside from designing your macros, which we will see about in a few minutes. But this is where your list of accounts goes. And this is what does all the work for setting up your 5-minute multiboxing. Your list of toons includes a box line, a line that begins with the word box for every single toon that you have, that you want in your raid or your party. It also includes a couple of extra lines called extra weight 1 and extra weight 2. Those are used later for tuning how your windows pop open if there are any issues there. So what is a box line? A box line includes first your Battle.net account, then your password, then your license. If you don't know what a license is, when you have extra Battle.net subscriptions, extra WoW subscriptions on your same Battle.net account, they get a name. Usually WoW 1, WoW 2, WoW 3. But in the old days, you could pick your name. Like my name, my names are random. They're just like 60 Forever, Neeks 1. And that license specifies a subscription that you have to WoW. Now, if you have created a different Battle.net account for each of your toons, you are wrong, sir. You have done wrong, and you need to undo it or combine them. Blizzard will allow you to combine them. You simply need to write them a little note. Wow, my mask is just slipping, isn't it? You simply need to write them a little note, and they will combine all of your Battle.net accounts for you under one Battle.net email. Why do you want to do that? Because everything gets shared that way between your licenses. Mounts, account-bound equipment, progress in reputation, achievements, many other things, heirlooms, many other things. But you do want all your multi-box accounts under one BattleNet BattleNet account, all your multi-box licenses. You can have up to 8. Okay, that's a really weird number because it's not 10. And 10 would have been a good number because then you could have done a 10-man all under one account. But they didn't do 10, they did 8. So at least get 8. With 8, you could do a 2x4. What's a 2x4, Furyswipes? You don't want to know. All right, so the next thing after license is your toon name. Now in Classic, you can't join other people on other servers, so there's no need to put a server name after your toon name. But in retail, oftentimes you'll have toons on different servers who can join each other. Like my toons are from Nathrazim and Cenarius. They can join each other in party just by being invited by their full qualified name, toon-server. Now, some servers have spaces in the name for mystifying reasons that I don't understand. That's okay. You can't have those spaces in your toon list. Just take the spaces out. So Altar of Souls, no spaces. All right, that's your server name. If you leave the spaces in, you're going to get errors in 5-minute multiboxing. All right, and then after that, it's your role. Okay, there are 7 roles defined, if I'm counting right. There is tank, healer, caster, hunter, not shown here, melee. And there are 2 new roles with the new 5-minute multiboxing. Caster healer and melee healer, which I'm not showing here. Each one of your guys should have his role specified. A caster healer is somebody who's meant to be DPS but also has heals. A melee healer is somebody who's meant to melee but also has heals, like a shaman or a paladin. And a caster is somebody who can't heal but is a caster. All right, like a warlock or a magician. A magician. An illusionist. I don't know what classes are in WoW. I don't even play this game. Okay, and then the last thing is your raid letters. Now, you don't have to have any raid letters at all. Okay, if you have no raid letters at all, you're still going to be in the default raid. And the default raid is M. That is the letter you press to start your raid up. All right? But you can put any number of letters here after any number of toons, and they will be in that raid too. So for example, my tank and my caster healer is in raid G. So if I hit ctrl-alt-G, which I'll explain in a second, it'll just pop those 2 boxes. My caster healer and my hunter and another caster, Palia, is in raid P. So if I hit ctrl-alt-P, only those guys would pop. There's no limit to the number of raids somebody can be in, but everybody will always be in raid M. Okay, also, you'll notice that I send with 5-minute multiboxing an example toon list, which I'll pop open here. Has a lot of words in it. No, Ridge, there we go. Has a lot of words in it, but most of those words are comments. Any line beginning with hashtag is a comment and is meant to explain to you what's going on below. So a lot of this stuff does not apply anymore in the new 5-minute multiboxing. Like max heal doesn't apply. Max heal probably didn't apply before. Hunter melee unfollow, can't do that. Melee IWT, send with IWT, send W with IWT. Click overlay, nope, none of that applies anymore. And that's all right. I mean, we have had to make allowances for Blizzard's change in heart, let us call it. All you really need to know about is what I'm showing you here. Your box lines, an extra weight 1 and extra weight 2. Okay, so extra weight 1 and 2, these are numbers of milliseconds. So 3000 is 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Extra rate 1 is how long you wait after all the windows pop to start to change the window names. I change all your window names so you know what toon goes in what window. Extra wait 2 is how long you wait after you change your window name to actually fill in the account and password. You can tune these things if things aren't working quite right when you pop your raid. All right, so once you have your toon list together, you save it and you actually do something really weird if you're not used to 5-minute multiboxing. You take your toon list, like mine's called sl5man.txt, and you drag and drop it onto read toonlist.bat, like that. Now 5-minute multiboxing is running. You don't close this like before, you leave this running because there are no other tools. It's just me, it's just my script. And it's running in this window. So leave this window open and do not minimize. If you minimize, your 5-minute multiboxing will stop working. But here are some things to look at in the big black window. First, what version you're running. All right, make sure you're running the latest version. Make sure that it has detected the right version of WoW, because 5-minute multiboxing supports all versions of WoW within reason, private server and classic and Shadowlands. See if it detected your keyboard layout. This is important for tilde click to work. I'll explain what tilde click is later. It shows you where it found your toon list, the one you just drag and drop. It shows you what display it detected. Make sure that's right. If this doesn't match your display size, you have window scaling on. Turn window scaling off. I need to see your actual display size, and window scaling hides that from me. So make it 100% while you're running 5-minute multiboxing. Tells you what I set your monitor to. Sometimes I can't find your display size, and I'll set it to some compromise, right? Sometimes I can't find your keyboard layout, and I'll try to guess what your tilde key is. Contact me on Discord if that's the case. If you know what your tilde key is, that is, you know what the OEM letter, the OEM number of your tilde key is, it's somewhere between OEM 3 and OEM 8. The tilde key, by the way, is the key to the left of the one key. The key to the left of the one key. That will always be the click sharing key in 5-minute multiboxing for as long as I live, which might not be a whole lot longer because I'm really old. That key is your OEM key. Now, if you know your OEM key and 5-minute multiboxing isn't finding your keyboard, you can go to your toon list and simply add it. Just add a line anywhere. OEM key, OEM 5, because I'm from Britain. Or OEM 8, because I'm from Sweden. Or OEM 7, because I'm from freaking Latvia or something. I don't know where OEM 7 came from. But you can add it, drag and drop again, and I'll still complain about your keyboard being gone, but being wrong, but I will set it to whatever OEM number you chose. All right, so I do give you a couple of other bits of information here. I give you a list of some of your commands, like Ctrl-H. Ctrl-H lists this help that explains what the commands are. If things scroll off this window and you somehow lose help, you can hit Ctrl-H again with scroll lock on. I'll explain that in a second. And you get a whole bunch of help. You can see ctrl-alt-m starts your main raid, everybody in toon list. It will also pop any windows not open. So if you had a bunch of windows open up, but one of them didn't log in for some reason, just close it. Just close it. Hit ctrl-alt-m again. It'll log it in. Relax. We're in a new world. 5-minute multiboxing will take care of all of your troubles. Shift-Control-M, whenever your windows get messed up, will reposition your windows. Why don't I just stop talking and start Control-Alt-Ming? Let me open up my Windows. Ah, music. Okay, so let's say I messed up a window and accidentally closed it. No problem. No problem, dude. Ctrl-alt-m again. And it will open. Now, say that my windows are messed up, like I resized this one because I was in a fight and I was dragging my mouse and hitting a button and then it got all big. And I'm still in the fight and I'm like, oh, this window's covering up other windows. Shift Control-M and it will put them back to their original positions. So let's, in order to illustrate some of this, let's log in. We're going to pick our licenses. All right. So remember that license field that you put in your toon list? The only thing I ever do with that is I put a little hint of what that license is in your window name. A little abbreviation. It doesn't list the whole thing unless it's only 2 letters. But I put a little hint of what that license is. Like my license is WoW2, I put dub2. Ooh, no one's going to figure that one out. No one's going to figure that one out. But this one's Neeks1, and I put 1NS1. Ooh. Who knows? Who knows what that one is? Nobody knows. So you use this memory feature to pick your licenses and log in the last bit of the way. And your guys are in. So, what else can you do while scroll lock's on? I still haven't explained scroll lock. What else can you do while scroll lock's on? Well, let's talk about scroll lock for a second. 5-minute multiboxing runs on scroll lock. Scroll lock is a weird button that nobody uses anymore. Just me. They made it for me, really. I mean, I'm pretty sure. And it's a toggle button. Usually, keyboards have a light for it. So when you turn scroll lock on, the keyboard puts a light on. Why do they do that? Nobody uses scroll lock for anything. Anyways, they put the light on, they put the light off. Well, guess what? 5-minute multiboxing stops working if the light's off. If your scroll lock's off, I don't do anything. And there's a good reason for that. Because you can type on your keyboard in that case. If you try to type on your keyboard with scroll lock on, you're going to do a bunch of magical things that confuse the hell out of you. Scroll lock is only for actually being in game, running around in the world, and doing good stuff. It's also the only thing that will allow you to do all these commands I'm about to talk about. For example, when scroll lock's on, you can go to the numpad keys and hit 1 through 5. I'm 5-boxing. Hit 1 through 5, and that will switch which window is in the main window. There's 5. That's the 5th guy. Now notice my main window goes to whoever swapped in. So my main tank is cheat. When I hit the 5 button, my hunter comes over here and cheat goes over to the hunter spot. All right. Very handy for certain situations in the game. Now, before we move on, I do want to say a few more things about drag and drop. What's this drag and drop, Furyswipes? It seems so weird. Why you do it that way? It seems stupid. Okay, so if you really don't like drag and drop, here's why drag and drop exists. Drag and drop exists so that you can name as many toon lists as you want, as many different names as you want. Notice my toon lists are called something.txt. You don't even need to have a .txt. It could be named anything, okay? You can name it crap, all right? And drag and drop it onto readtoonlist.bat, and it will read it as a toon list. It'll go through all your box commands, and it will incorporate all that into the add-on behind the scenes. You don't know what's going on. I haven't told you that part. You don't need to know what's going on. Magic happens, okay? Just magic. And it will incorporate all that, and it doesn't matter what the file name is. It doesn't matter how many files you have. But if you really hate dragging and dropping and you just want to double click something, call your toon list toonlist.txt. If you call your toon list toonlist.txt, then you can just double click on read toonlist.bat and you will be you will open 5-minute multiboxing. All right, now the other thing that you have at your disposal when 5-minute multiboxing is running and scroll-lock is on is ctrl-alt-o. Ctrl-alt-o means zero out all your windows, exit. All right, so ctrl-alt-o will always close all your windows, and this is very convenient for logging out. It's very convenient for starting over. You can ctrl-alt-o, you can ctrl-alt-m, and anytime you want, and you'll be right back in game. So let's log back in, and once you are in, I'm going to show you what the next step is. You log in, boink, boink, boom, smack, crushed it. Told you this was going to be the longest video I've ever made. It's in multiple parts. Oh my gosh, I'm dead. What happened? Okay, I'm doing this and I don't need to be doing this, and I'll tell you why in a little while. All right, so the first thing you want to do when you log in is you want to type init. But I'm going to pretend I've already typed init, and I'm going to hit the O0 button and invite everybody to party so I don't get portaled away somewhere. But the first thing you do when you get in the game is you type enter key to open your chat window, and you type /init. All right, and what that's going to do is it's going to ruin all your buttons. It's going to put your buttons the way I want them. And thus you have stumbled on the major sacrifice of 5-minute multiboxing. Major sacrifice of 5-minute multiboxing is it's fairly regimented. I put 6 buttons on your action bar in a particular place. I put many buttons in your function keys in a particular place. And I put several buttons on the side action bars in a particular place. Please enable your side action bars so that you can see them. So now that you've initted, you'll notice all these buttons are in place. Any button that's named _FS, that stands for underscore Furyswipes. Any button that's named _FS is a button that I will put in place anytime you init. All right. You can't stop this behavior. This is the init behavior. So if you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you. That's just the way it is. You can just drag your own macros down after you init, I guess. There you go. You could have a bar saver add-on that saves the way you want your bars to be, and change things the way you want them. That's all fine. There's a lot of flexibility here. Ultimately, all of the magic is built into window swapping, so you can run your own multiboxing system. You don't have to run mine, even though it's better than yours. You can run your own multiboxing system, and then you'll avoid the task of learning mine. But I'm going to teach you mine anyway, because this is the longest instructional video I've ever done. So let's notice these macros that are already set up for you in the buttons. We're going to talk about some of them, and we're going to talk about how the window swapping happens in the first place. Now, what do I mean by window swapping? I mean that when I hit a button, like the button 1, all right, here's button 1. It's a targeting button. It's not going to start any combat. It's a setup button. It's why it's named setup. Button 1 is setup. If I hit button 1 once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, you notice everybody, by the way, this is your 5-minute multiboxing window. Move it down here. All right, move it out of the way. Otherwise, it'll keep putting itself on top. Everybody's targeting my target. who's my? My is my main window. He is your default assist. Everybody will target your main window. Actually, everybody will target your main window if your main window is defined as role tank. If your main window is not defined as role tank, I happen to know that nobody will target anything. So right now I want to talk about each individual key. This is going to be a deep dive also. We're going to talk about all the keys in 5-minute multiboxing, and we're going to start going through them. The one key we've already talked about. The one thing it does is it helps target. Now the other thing it does is if you hit Control, and if you hit Control 1, everybody casts their buffs. Why does everybody cast their buffs? Because I wrote it that way, and you'll need to too. What do I mean by that? Well, every key that I put on the action bar in 5-minute multiboxing is simply a call to a GSE macro. GSE is an add-on, a very famous add-on that makes magical macros that do things in WoW. And I'm going to go a little bit into it here. So first, I want to make a distinction between GSE macros, which are complex macros you put in an add-on, and simple macros, which are macros behind the /m key. If I type /m, these are all what I call simple macros, all right? The simple macro we're talking about right now is setup. You can see what the simple macro setup does. First, it assists cheat. That is the main window, my tank. Then it does something called click blood setup. Whenever you see /click, that's a GSE macro call. It's calling a GSE macro called that name. And then the other thing it does is if you hold the Alt key down while you hit 1, it stops casting. So we're going to go look at what blood setup is in the GS macros. Type /GS. This brings up GSE. It comes with 5-minute multiboxing. You should update it to the latest. And it shows you, it stores and allows you to edit the macros that you care about. Now, I don't give these macros to you, so you have to make them up yourself. Here's blood setup, for example. The macros are named your spec underscore whatever the role of that macro is. So this is blood setup. By the way, skip over this part if you already know how all this works and you don't want to know how all this works yet. You can see my blood setup does nothing because Death Knights have no buffs. And so all I do is if the mod key is Alt, I bring my pet back and make him follow. That's it. That's all I do for blood setup. Let's look at a different class. Okay, here is a balanced druid. What does he do for setup? Balance setup. Same thing, nothing. He has no buffs. Stupid balanced druid. Here's a resto shaman. What does he do? Oh, before I go on, I just want to make sure of one point. None of this will work if you have something called focus follows mouse enabled in Windows. If whenever you move a mouse, it changes the window to that focus, you've got to turn that off. This will prevent 5-minute multiboxing from working. So turn your focus follows mouse off. You need to have to click into a window to act on that window. If you don't have to click into a window to act on that window, 5-minute multiboxing will not work for you. Turn off focus follows mouse. All right, so this guy is a resto sham. Notice his spec is not restoration. I called it resto sham. See, I cut corners already. Resto sham setup to distinguish it from restoration specs in other classes. Now look what he does. When you hold the control key, he does two things in sequence. First, he casts Water Shield on himself, and if you hit the Control key again, he casts Earth Shield on his tank. You don't get that with 5-minute multiboxing. You have to write that intelligence in. Okay. What's the next one? The Mage. I hit the 4 numpad key. Notice the Mage window swapped in. /GS. I have to click in it. Arcane. My Mage is Arcane. What does Arcane setup do? On Control, I cast Arcane Intellect, then Arcane Familiar. I also, if I had Looterang, which I don't, I also would cast Looterang anytime I press the Win key. Maybe I'll get Looterang going. But notice I also have Stop Casting, Stop Attack, and Pet Passive on Alt. Right? So if I'm holding Alt 1 down, I'm going to stop all that stuff. I use Alt 1 as a DPS out button. Everybody stop shooting button. It's very useful when things get away from you. Okay, that's my Mage. How about my Hunter? Yo, I'm typing. Hunter setup, Beast Mastery setup. He's Beast Mastery spec. All he does on setup is revive pet. So if I hit Control, he should, yeah, he just revives pet. He calls pet on 1. I think that's a little allowance I made for the fact that you couldn't combine those 2 spells on the same Control click. They would conflict with each other. All right. The other thing that happens on 1, not yet, but in the next release, all your melee will follow the tank. It's a lot of times it's useful to have a button that makes all melee follow. And 1 is as good a button as any because 1 is not supposed to do any combat. It's just kind of a setup button. And part of setup is making all your melee follow the tank into combat. So that will be the case in the next release. So let's talk about 2. 2 is called single FS. That means I intend to do single target damage to whoever I'm pointing at. So what does that look like? And I want you to pay real attention here because this is the important magic that goes into what you do to set up your multiboxing. So if I type the simple macros, I look at 2, single FS, notice it has an assist, and it assists focus if there is any, and it also does click spec _ single. Well, let's go into GS and look at spec _ single. Well, there's a lot going on here, and this deserves a video of its own. But this is what a GSSE macro looks like in the new 5-minute multiboxing world. It's very different from a GSSE macro normally that you would use for soloing. Why? Well, because there's only 1 line in the sequence. I've settled on 1 line in the sequence as the key to 5-minute multiboxing in the new world of Blizzard's making. And the reason is, as you are cycling around your windows, every window gets a key much more seldom than before. You're not sending the same key to all windows all the time. So you can't afford to cycle through a bunch of dead steps in GSSE, checking to see if this spell's ready, checking to see if this spell's active. No go. You must make every click count because you're only getting about 1 click a second, maybe 2. So every click has to count. And the way I do that is a big ass long cast sequence. Now you could never put this cast sequence in a simple macro, even by itself, but mix it with all this other good stuff. And no, you need GSSE to have a chance at a really good macro. And so I'm not going to go too deep into explaining how GSE macros work today, but I will explain the basics. A typical GSE macro has a key press section. That's what happens when you press the key down. And you can put very qualified spells in there. You can't just put a spell in there, because that spell, if it has a global cooldown, will block everything else in GSE. So you can't put a blocker there. You can put a spell that doesn't cause a global cooldown, like Spirit Mend, on your pet in there, but you can't put a spell that has a real GSE, a real global cooldown, unless you qualify it with like the Alt key or the Control key or something like that. Pre-macro. Pre-macro is what happens before it runs the macro sequence. You can put anything in pre-macro that does not have a global cooldown. Okay? I put it over here and not in key press, which I could put it in also because it doesn't have a global cooldown, just to separate it, make it look nice, keep them in two different places. Then sequence. Sequence in GSE is a list of steps that you want to click through every time you click the macro. If I had 5 lines in here, it would take 5 clicks of this macro to test each of those lines. Okay, so if I had Bestial Wrath in one of the lines, it would take, I would click once for my sequence and then once to test if Bestial Wrath is active. Bump, 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 bump. But I do find that even though Bestial Wrath has a cooldown, you can sometimes get away with putting a cooldown spell in pre-macro. I don't know exactly the circumstances, but you have to test them as you get them. And Bestial Wrath does sometimes pop. It pops certainly enough when I put it in pre-macro. Now this is all getting very complicated. I don't want to scare you away, but there's no multi-boxing system that's going to take care of this stuff for you. None. None. Every multi-boxing system is going to have you take a long look at your rotation and figure it out. But the way I'm showing you how to do it is guaranteed to work. You will get from 70 to 90% of the way we used to multi-box out of this. Okay? You'll never be 100%, but you'll get close. And then key release, that will pop something on the release of your key if you did not do anything else in the other windows, which is very handy when you've done everything, everything's on cooldown, you release the key, it pops your Covenant ability in this case. Awesome. Now this Covenant ability happens to be one that you have to place a reticle on the ground for, so I have added @player to it so it casts right on myself. Okay, so that's the 2 button. Now, to get everybody to shoot the 2 button, you can't just hit 2. You have to hit 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Hitting it 5 times will make 5 people shoot. Now, the cool exception with 5-minute multiboxing is it won't make the healer shoot except once every 2 circles around your DPS guys. So it's not wasting time making the healer do stuff in combat. Instead, it's going to the DPS guys most of the time, which is really cool. Only the 2 key, the 3 key, and the 5 key, your main attack keys, do that, right? They switch win DPS. So let's demo it. I'm going to turn scroll lock on. Is everybody following me? I'm going to be on my main. Is everybody following me? Everybody's following me. And we're going to point at something. Actually, let's go over here and point at a single target, since the 2 key is supposed to be single target. And we're going to point at this guy. And we're going to hit the 2 button. Fast. As fast as you can hit it. Notice my tank waited for him to come to us. And so how did we do? 1200 DPS for the hunter. That's really good. He must have popped Bestial Wrath. Palia, 870 DPS for the mage. He didn't quite get going. The druid didn't quite get going. Oh well. Usually he does better than that. That's okay. Let's go pick up this item. And so that is single target. You use single target when you don't want to pop CC. When you don't want to pop sheep that are standing around. You use multi-target, the 3 key, when you have multiple targets. I'm going to run right up to these guys, and I'm going to hit 3. Now notice these guys are really annoying. They jump behind you. Notice I'm facing the wrong way. Well, there's a cure for that. You hit the F key 5 times. Everybody will turn toward the target. All right, F in 5-minute multiboxing is interact with target. What it does is it makes everybody turn toward the target. And so if I walk up to these guys and hit, say, the 5 key, which is flat out AoE, and hit the F key at the same time, notice everybody is turning to a target, except for the mage. The mage doesn't really turn to targets. You might have to micromanage your mage. Mages don't actually turn toward targets very well, unless they're right next to them. So it works well for AoE. Looks like everybody's facing their targets. Nope, the mage is still not turning towards his target. So you may need to pivot only your mages. And I was hitting the F key and the 5 key the whole time. What is the 5 key, Furyswipes? Well, the 5 key is my favorite key. That is the AoE key. That's the key you hit when you're standing on a stack of enemies. And you can see, my guys did okay. 1200 DPS at level 53, 1100 DPS at level 53 on AoE. That's actually not bad. Don't pay attention to the Moonkin. Moonkin are terrible at AoE. They're much better at single target. So, let's look at some of those keys, shall we? The multi-key, the 3 key. Let's look at the simple macro. I'm turning scroll lock off so I can type /GS. And I'm going to look for blood multi. Okay, blood multi looks like this. You can see it's exactly the same as blood single. You can also see I'm using another trick of GS, and that is an occasional cast of a post macro, the Covenant ability. What I do to cast the post macro and the pre macro several times during the fight is I put an inner loop limit. That means every time you loop through the sequence 4 times in this case, cast the pre macro and the post macro. The key release still works. Every time I release the key, it's going to try to cast that spell if I haven't cast something else on the key press. But the pre-macro and the post-macro will only try to recast their boxes every 4 times through sequence. So every 4 presses, basically. So it's very useful in this paradigm to set up to give yourself one more little What do other classes look like in multi? Let's look at the Moonkin. Still not used to clicking in my windows. Balance multi. Moonkin, pretty much the same thing as single. Pretty much the same thing. Go ahead and copy my macros if you want. What does the Healing Shaman look like? Ooh, we didn't look at the Healing Shaman's single. Did we look at everybody's single? I don't know if we looked at everybody's single. So the Healing Shaman single, multi, looks like this. Same as his single. He always casts Healing Stream Totem once in a fight and never again. And he always casts Healing Rain at himself. during the fight. When you're hitting the 2 button, the 3 button. The 5 button, he gets a little more crazy. Let's look at the 5 button. That would be Resto Sham AoE. Resto Sham AoE, he gets a little more crazy. He does Healing Rain, he does Healing Tide, he does Downpour, he does Earthen Wall Totem. Yeah. Because you're AoEing, you got to defend your party against damage that could be coming from everywhere at once. And it's very difficult to taunt everybody. And so what is, while I'm here, what is in the Resto Sham single button? Healing Rain and Earthen Wall Totem. Wow, you know what? I should really, and he puts Sky Fury Totem. I don't have Sky Fury Totem on right now. I turned War Mode off, but that's what it would look like if you had Sky Fury Totem. He would drop a Healing Stream and a Sky Fury Totem once during the battle. Let's see what the mage is doing. The mage is doing Arcane Single. Well, we already looked at Arcane Single. I'm going to show you each one. Maybe we didn't. Arcane Multi, that's the 3 button. I'm going to show you this. This is how the mage is doing it. And then Arcane AoE, which is very different. That's the 5 button. And he's doing a bunch of Arcane Explosions and throwing a Frost Nova out there once in a while, every 30 seconds. It's a mage. Let's see what the hunter is doing. Beast Mastery Multi. This is the 3 key. He throws multi-shot in there instead of barb shot and cobra shot. Lot of multi-shots, and tries to keep up his pet cleave. What does he do for AoE? Same thing. Same thing. So just copy my macros as you see them here and you'll be okay. What does he do for single target? I think we covered this. Okay, so that covers all the DPS macros. Now that leaves the one thing that we got to do during a fight. I'm going back to cheat. The one thing we got to do during a tough fight is sometimes you actually take damage. And when you actually take damage, what you got to do? You gotta heal. Now, if I would take damage, I would show you my healing. That was an Alt-2 to throw down my Death and Decay, which I've got assigned to 2. These guys aren't taking any damage. And we're doing too good now. When I first got in here 2 days ago, I mean, I was getting smoked by these packs. Absolutely dominated. Many lines of code later, no more domination. I'm trying to get damage. Okay, cheat has taken some damage, as you can see. Now, F1 to F5 heal members of your party. So F1 is your main. I'm gonna hit F1. You have to multi-tap it because you need to send it to everybody who's a healer. Now my healer got aggro. He's F3. That's F1, F2, F3 clockwise. Don't pay attention to the order they're showing up in your raid order. So I'm doing nothing but healing right now. F3, tap, 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 tap. Now notice, both my druid, who's a caster healer, and my healer are healing. So, yeah, I waited a little too long. Got a little too fancy there. And a little too overwhelmed, so I'm gonna hit the 5 key. And I'm probably gonna wipe. I'm actually not gonna reincarnate or anything to save this, but this will allow me to show you more keys. I meant to do that. I meant to wipe like that by never DPSing. You have died. Now what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to show you one of my favorite new keys. It is the tilde key. The tilde key, as I mentioned, is the key next to the 1 key. If I hold that down, and I mouse click, what it does is it switches windows automatically without moving my mouse and allows me to have everybody release Spirit that fast. Now I've released Spirit by tilde clicking, and I'm back in the game. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna buff again. Control 1, Control 1, Control 1. Now I wanna talk a little bit about Control 1 or any key with a modifier. Anytime you have a key with a modifier in the new 5-minute multiboxing, you must lift your finger off the control key every time you click it again. Control 1, lift it off control, Control 1. If you hold control and you hit 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, only the first window is going to get that control key. The second windows will never get it. So, there you go. I'll probably fix that later. I think I know a way. To fix that later. So you won't need to do that. But for now, get used to it. Wait, who didn't release? Oh, he didn't release. My tilde clicking did not work. So tilde clicking, you know how it's 2 clicks per window change. Make sure each time you click your tilde click that the mouse is live over the target that you want to click on. Otherwise, it'll just click away from that window. So if you're trying to click on a button like release, make sure the release button is live and you've moved your mouse over it, and it really will be clicked on. Okay, let's do another 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. Single target. Okay. Alt 2 casts my death and decay. And now I'm going to switch to the 5 key since there's so many things around me. I'm just going to hit the 5 key and watch my health. And if my health starts to drop on somebody, just going to heal them. Talia seems to be getting some aggro. I'll throw a F4. I'm hitting F4 at the same time I'm hitting the 5 key. And you'll notice it's working. Even though I'm hitting the buttons at the same time, 5-minute multiboxing don't care. It's going to work. The remarkable thing is we're not key cloning. I'm just switching windows so fast that it works almost as good. Oh, I'm wearing my voice out tonight. Okay, so there you go. That was a quick combat where Pally did most of the damage with Arcane Explosion, and Monique doesn't have her pet out, and so did very little damage. I'm gonna hit the Control 1 key and resummon Monique's pet. Monique's pet is dead, and so I'll revive Monique's pet. And I'm going to come over here and we're going to talk about the 4 key. All right, the 4 key, we're going to talk about the 4 key with this pack. The 4 key is what should be your burst key. That's what you put in to call your DPS bursting. So for example, I won't go through all of them, but the balance turbo button, the 4 key is called turbo. Balance turbo for the Moonkin contains 1 line, force of nature. All right. It contains travel form too, because the control key, I always write the control 4 to be my mount button. All right. So force of nature, that's all the Moonkin does. If you look at my shaman, we're fighting. Let's close that down. Okay, we're going to use our turbo buttons, and we are going nuts. Cancel that meat shield. We're going to go nuts. We're turboing. We just popped lust. I'm going to hit the F1 key to heal while I continue to hit F5, and the meat shield is getting his meat shield in. We're gonna have to stop that. But notice the shaman is doing more work. The shaman's like, oh, we're in 5. I'm gonna do downpour. I'm gonna do the healing something totem, the healing, the buttload of healing totem. And oh, I wasn't healing actually. I was paying attention to my buttload, but Shift 3, by the way, is your class interrupt. Just hit Shift 3 when you want to interrupt something. You do have to lift your finger off the shift to get each Shift 3 in as the windows go around. But you know what? We didn't do bad there. For not healing at all, I did not press the heal button once. For not healing at all, we did not do bad. So I will always put your res in the 8 slot of your action bar. Anybody who has a res will get their res in the 8 button of the action bar. Now, I'm still doing the Resto Shaman wrong. I'm supposed to put Ancestral Vision in that button, not the normal heal. I will fix that in the 5-minute multiboxing add-on if I remember to. Okay, so the final button we want to talk about is the 6 button. That is self-heal. Okay, so when we're in trouble, like we were just a few minutes ago, what you will press is the self-heal button. And the self-heal button tells everybody, we're in trouble, do your healing crap. And I will show you the self-heal button in a second on the boss. These guys who jump behind you, they are a menace. I don't know why Blizzard decided to make guys who jump behind you. It's a new thing. I can't remember them ever doing this before, but the F key, the interact with target key, saves the day on the guys that jump behind you, except for the mage. Except for the mage. And I think that's the only class that is not with the program. So, the 6 key, that's the self-heal key. And the simple macro for the 6 key looks like this. S-heal. Show, I kind of modified this simple macro to give it a tooltip. I say show tooltip Icebound Fortitude. You can do the same. Otherwise, it's going to look like a question mark, and that's fine. If you do modify your macro, put hashtag no update. This is a lot of information. That's fine. This is a reference video. It's not meant to be an entertainment video. Just fast forward, rewind to where you need to be. And notice the GSSE macro is called click blood S-heal. So it's spec _ S-heal. And S-heal for the blood knight, the blood knight looks like this. He pops all of his no GCD spells. None of these spells have a GCD, so they all pop at the same time. Then he cycles through his anti-magic zone, Wraithwalk, Lichborn, cast Death Coil on himself, cast Death Coil on himself, cast Death Coil on himself. It's a good dealio. But again, since I'm clicking once per window, click, 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 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. I'm only going to get a 6 to this guy every 1 second, maybe a little less than 1 second. So it's going to take a long time to work through that sequence in GSSE. All right, so we've covered healing. The one thing I wanted to say about healing is it's a smart window switcher. Watch the bottom, watch the taskbar at the bottom when I'm healing. Scroll lock on. Heal, 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 heal. Look at what the taskbar is doing. It's switching between I'm and Earthshock only. What do I'm and Earthshock have in common? They're both healers. Okay? One's a caster healer, an occasional healer. One is a main healer. Now, all caster healers are also main healers in 5-minute multiboxing. They're not occasional healers. They're gonna throw a heal every time you ask them to. Okay? But caster healers will not be skipped in the DPS rotation like main healers will. Main healers will always be skipped 2 out of 3 times in the DPS rotation because main healers don't need to do a whole lot of crap in the DPS rotation during a fight. So If you watch the taskbar down here during the DPS rotation, I'm gonna actually face away so I don't pull the boss. Let's watch this taskbar. DPS rotation 2 2 2 2 2. You notice that Urshak, who is my main healer, is mostly skipped. He's mostly skipped. Oh, you can't see that, can you? You cannot. Yeah, no, you can't see that because my stupid big fat face is blocking it. All right, let's move my stupid big fat face. There you go. Now can you see it? I bet you can see it now, suckers. Hold on, I can't see you seeing it. I need to see you seeing it. There you go. All right, let's do that again. Let's talk about that again. Healing. Here's healing. F1, F1, F1. Urshak, I'm. Urshak, I'm. Urshak, I'm. It goes between those windows for healing. Now here's DPS. Everybody but Urshak most of the time. Urshak is the main healer. He's only a healer. That's the insanity. That's the good insanity of 5-minute multiboxing. That's why you want to use this. That's why you want to multibox with this. It's legal. It don't send keys. All it does is swap windows, brah. Okay, I'm going to try the 3 key and the F key on this. Instead of the 5 key, I'm just going to keep turning. I'm going to monitor my mage to make sure she's turning. Target needs to be in front of you. No, she turned. All right. Oh, that was not bad. That was not bad. The hunter still did the lion's share stuff. All right, here's a tough mob. Let's go kill El Tough Mob. Oh crap, we got a big one on our hands, people. This is a big one. We're gonna hit the turbo button. We're gonna pop everything. We're gonna watch our health. And we are going to survive. We're going to live. Okay, we got that guy. Let's switch to the Stitch Vanguard. Everybody face him. Heal cheat. It's time. You know what it's time for? 6 6 6 6 6. Let's live. We're healing. We're killing. We're gonna turn toward the Stitch Vanguard. We're watching. Oh, we're not even fighting the Stitch Vanguard. Let's stop the Stitch Vanguard's meat shield. I'm going to switch to the 3 key, so we do multi-damage. I'm going to hit the F1 key, so I'm healing at the same time. I'm going to hit Alt-2, so I lay my Death and Decay down. And kill the noobs. We're going to interrupt that meat shield again with Shift 3. That's the default class interrupt. And now this Corpse Harvester, he's coming over here. We're going to kill him. Oh, Pally is getting a little harmed. I'm going to hit F4 during the fight. Things are moving fast, people, but we're multi-boxes. We can handle it. We can handle it. Wait, no. You don't know who I am. I'm not a multi-boxer. Interrupt him. Shift 3. Remember, I have to lift my finger off the shift key every time. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, that was a big pull, but we don't care. We're multi-boxers. We know how to do it. We're not key cloning. We're legal. Yeah! That's 5-minute multi-boxing power, baby! Level 53 in a level 53 dungeon. And we've almost got our Bloodlust back. We didn't even use Bloodlust for that, man. Nobody died, and everybody did pretty good DPS. For me, anyway. 955, 943, 766, 750. All right, let's talk about miscellaneous helpful keys. First, I want to talk about tab targeting. I use tab targeting a lot in a fight, and a lot of the times I'm afraid I'll be fighting. I'll be using the 2 key. My focus window will be somewhere else, but I need to switch targets really quick. Well, guess what? Say my focus window is up here on Urshak. I'm gonna look down here at the taskbar. You're looking at the taskbar? I'm looking at the taskbar. It's up on Urshak, the healer, and I want to target something. Well, if I hit the tab key, something magic happens. It automatically makes my main the focus window. So the next key I click is going to tab to something. So tab is a good shorthand way to get back to the main window. So here I am. My focus window is I'm over here on cheat. I'm gonna hit tab, and look, I've targeted the Zolrem Gatekeeper. Great names. I've always admired the names that Blizzard makes up for everything because they've had to make up. Would you say we're closing in on 100,000 names? I would imagine maybe 100,000 is too low. They have made up, when you consider all the combinations of everything, they've made up so many names. It's just spectacular. Anybody who's ever tried to write their own story knows one of the hardest parts of writing stories for noobs is thinking of convincing names. And I like convincing, you know, I like seeing Blizzard rolling all their cool names. I mostly have a bad attitude about Blizzard, WoW, and the whole life, the universe, and everything. But you know what? I think some things, I see the goodness in a lot of things. I'm hitting F and 3 at the same time, by the way. And I give credit where it's due. Man, Monique, my hunter, is just going nuts. Ah, crap. Really? We pulled the boss? I didn't want to do the boss yet. Actually, let's reset. We're going reset. Yo, Palia, start running. It is reset time, baby. Yo, keep running. Palia, you run too. Oh, Pally, you in trouble. Anybody die? Are we all okay? We are all okay. Oh, but we're out of that dungeon. Oh, that sucks. Well, that gives us a chance to talk about other keys. Okay. Control 4. I put my mount on Control 4 by convention. You should too. You can do whatever you want, really. But Control 4, if you'll notice, it's also a shared key. I'm going to get off my mount. I'm going to get off all my mounts so that you can see how this works. I'm mouse clicking this, so forgive me. So let's say I'm running around. I'm a badass multi-boxer, and I want to mount up. Here's how it looks. Control 4, lift finger off control. Control 4, Control 4, Control 4, Control 4. 5 people mounted. I'm a boss. Alt 4. You only need to Alt 4 once. Oh, I don't know why I got off. Oh, we're in a house? Are we in a house? You can't mount in here? Okay, we're in a house. Why are you calling it a house, Furyswipes? You're weird. It's a house, man. You can't mount in a house. All right, let's do it again. Control 4, Control 4, Control 4, Control 4, Control 4. Oh, that was as fast as I've ever done it. Are we all following still? Yes, we are. Now, let me show you the coolness of tilde click. Let's say you get on one of these stupid pads. See, there's my bad attitude showing through. Now, I want to tilde click the pad. I hold the tilde button down. I right click. Boom, that guy goes. Right click twice. You gotta find the gear. Oh, now I'm out of sync. Now we're portaling to the other side. So, yeah, I didn't do that quite right. Sorry. But it works in theory. You'll get used to it. You'll be better at it than me. All right. Okay, let's try it again. So click flight path. Click again. Click flight path. It's not a flight path. Click pad. Make sure it's gold before you click. Click again. Click again. And are we all here? Are we all swapped? I think we're all swapped. Work in progress. You get back. Okay, you can also use it for buying things. So let me get up on my Brutusar. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the merchant on the Brutusar with my main. I'm going to hit 111111 to have everybody target the, wait, I didn't click on him. Merchant Macau, 11111 to target Merchant Macau. Hello? Did I not click on him again? Oh, I'm not on my main. Let's get on my main. 11111 to target Merchant Macau, and then FFFFF to open Merchant Macau. We all repair automatically because I have an add-on for that. And now we can all buy the night crawlers. Yes, we can all buy the night crawlers I wanted to buy. I hold tilde click down and I hit right click and I hit click again. Then I move my mouse a little bit so it really does right click a night crawler. Move my mouse a little bit. Move it a little bit because your mouse is going to be kind of dead. And then everybody should have bought a night crawler once. Night crawlers, night crawlers. He missed because I didn't move my mouse quite right. He bought 2, but yeah, you get the idea. I'll tune it a little more. It'll work better. Don't worry. All right, other buttons that I want to talk about. Other buttons you get for free. I'm actually going to make the window big for this because we're just going to talk about buttons. So buttons that you get with 5-minute multiboxing that you might want to use. The polymorph button we already talked about. That's shift 2. All right, did we talk about it? That's your default class polymorph spell. It does not assist. The interrupt button, that's shift 3. That's your default class interrupt button. These are simple macros. They're not GSSE macros. It does not assist, although it probably should. The rebirth button for druids, that's in the 9 slot. You hit it, I don't know, you mouse click it, okay? You could just go 9999, but you still got to mouse click a target in your druid window, so you're kind of responsible for your own rebirth. Now let's go over to the, I got to move my fat face out of the way because you cannot see this. Let's go over to the right bar. Ooh. Oh, don't look behind the curtain. Okay. So on the right bar, I've got a couple of utility buttons that are very important. First, reload. You'll need to reload. You'll need to reload WoW anytime you change something in your toon list and then drag and drop again. You don't have to leave the game. If you change like a name in your toon list or something and you drag and drop again because you got it wrong, you just reload. Now this init actually does init for you, okay? So you can press this init button to do /init. It's just a little time-saving convenience. Of course, it's not there before you init the first time. We got the leave party button. I use that all the time, leave party. We got the dance button. So let's tilde click the dance button and see if, first I'm going to get off my mouse. I'm going to tilde click the dance button. Who got on their mount? Somebody was already dismounted. Now we're going to see if tilde clicking the dance button makes everybody dance. Tilde click, tilde click, tilde click, tilde click, tilde click, tilde click. Is everybody dancing? Not? Oh, no, I kept tilde clicking, so dance again will make them stop dancing. Okay, druid dancing, shaman dancing, mage dancing, hunter dancing, and druid not dancing anymore. Somehow I skipped cheat. Like I said, I got to tune it a little bit. You get what you pay for, dudes. And the other thing I put in place is a Hearthstone. I put the Hearthstone in the same place everywhere on everybody, so you can click your Hearthstone in that same place as a shorthand. So the other buttons that you'll see are the assist buttons, which I don't really have working yet. There is a little problem with them that I'm going to fix before the next release. These buttons are meant to have everybody assist. Everybody assist a different member of the party. But right now they don't work. And it's an easy fix, and I just have to do it. They will all assist that person, but that person will actually keep trying to assist the main tank and will keep clearing his own target. So I'll fix that, don't worry. And yes, you've got to the end of a very, very long video. Just a couple of other little things I want to talk about. I want to talk about the F12 key. Let's hit the one numpad and go back to our main. Okay, this is our main. Everybody's following, right? There's a fun key I give you called F12. That's make a line. If you hit it 5 times, then everybody forms a nice single file line. Ta-da! Cute, right? Sometimes useful for setting up bosses, because you can form a nice single file line and then turn everybody to the right when I get turning working, which doesn't work quite yet, but it will. I've almost got it working. It'll be a 2-click deal where 1 click switches windows, the next click you can hold it down to turn. Or I may do something better than that and just get turning working. I just realized a way to do it. Yeah, I think I can do this. I'm gonna try it after this video. Okay. What did I miss? Oh, the classic buff keys. If this were classic World of Warcraft, you wouldn't have these assist keys, which don't work, because World of Warcraft doesn't have focus. But you would have up here in the action bar a series of buff keys for your class to buff members of the party, and you would mouse click them. There's no other. I have no other mechanism of doing it. You would just mouse click those buffs to buff up at the beginning, or write your own add-on. I don't know. You might write your own add-on. So that's it. That is the 5-minute multiboxing deep dive. And that is how you will be killing bosses at level 52, just like I was, without cloning keys, because you are a sucker and you obey everything Blizzard says. And by the way, before I leave, I want to make it very clear that you must delete HotKeyNet, Auto Hotkey, and ISBoxer from your machine before you multibox again. This is all they're looking for. They want to, they are looking to see if you even have the software on the computer, because people are going to see you, they're going to report you, and they're going to say, hey, it's a botter. Hey, multiboxing is banned, Blizzard. Why isn't this guy banned? Because they don't know. They don't know. Blizzard freaking is so unclear with their stuff. Of course, everybody's confused. And Blizzard's going to put their little warden monitor on your computer. They're going to put the Eye of Sauron into your computer, and they're going to say, do you have any ISBoxer here? They don't care if it's running. They just want to see if it's installed. Do you have HotKeyNet? Do you have Auto Hotkey? Even though it's a really useful piece of code that anybody would use in their PC. Nope. If you have that stuff, banned. So please do delete it, multibox in peace, and join us. Join us giving our money to Blizzard. Still, after all these years, we want to keep giving money to Blizzard. Yeah, we're suckers. Pixel suckers. Or go play in a private server and you don't have to worry about any of this. Use my other versions of 5-minute multiboxing, which are much better than this. And they key clone. And they use HotKeyNet. So, Cheers from Furyswipes. Please give it a try. Oh, when you have problems, if you have problems, come onto the Discord server, type your problems in general. Don't PM me first. Just type in general first. I'm not going to ignore you if you PM me, but type in general first. Usually read the FAQ first. Okay, read the frequently asked question channel first, because your question's probably in there, believe me. And then type it in general and somebody will help you, usually Honey, the only person who always monitors my Discord. I don't even always monitor my Discord. So please, if she helps you in some way, if she helps you get going, send her a coffee to her Patreon. All right, it doesn't cost that much money, a couple of euros, and you know, it makes her smile, makes you smile, and it keeps the system going. All right, if Honey gets bored, what do we got? We got Furyswipes, who sometimes logs on, sometimes doesn't. Okay, so thanks for watching. Again, use it as reference. Look at the chapter marks down below. You can very quickly go to the places in the video that you need to get to. And I think this is only going to be a two-parter. Maybe it's only going to be a one-parter. Yeah, maybe I'll chop it into a bunch of parts, actually. No, I'm not going to do that. I'll make it a one-parter. And I will see you in game, sucker.